Greetings, this is the latest from Mckoy's News Center. PNP leader, Mark Golding, not in support of a state of public emergency, in St. James. Leader of the opposition and president of the People's National Party, Mark Golding, has related that the party is fully against the use of a state of public emergency in the parish of St. James, as a crime-fighting tool. Golding made the comment while touring sections of South St. James, on Wednesday, and further said, he is in full support of a zone of special operations for the community, but not a state of public emergency. He also pointed out that he sympathized with the families of those who have been killed in Salt Spring over the past weeks, especially the families of both young boys, but stressed that the use of the state of public emergency as a crime-fighting tool have failed over and over again. Golding related that he learned that Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced that a state of public emergency has been declared on the parish of St. James, while on the tour, but that the measure is costly and not effective. Other members of the PNP also shared negative views on the state of public emergency, as a crime-fighting tool. The Prime Minister, who made the declaration during a press briefing at Jamaica House on Wednesday morning, reported that the state of emergency has been declared due to a recent flare-up to gang violence in the parish, and pointed out that the government will not resile in the face of terror. The state of public emergency will run for 14 days, after which it will have to get parliamentary approval.
I don't think you can just look at murder in isolation, because mandatory minimum sentences are being imposed now on firearm offences as well. And the volume of firearm offences is significant. So between that and murder's always had mandatory minimum sentences. What they're doing is increasing those minimums from 15 years and 20 years, which is what exists now for capital murder. And I think they're proposing 40 and 50 years. And when you add to that the mandatory minimum sentence for firearms offences, what you're going to have is a growing prison population, because people will be in prison for much longer. So whereas the average duration of a prisoner in Jamaica is approximately, across all offences, from minor to major, is I believe in the region of 3 years, that is going to be a much higher number going forward. How are they all going to fit? Where are the rehabilitation programs to try and reorient those people who have committed crimes so that when they come back into society, they're no longer a threat to the rest of us? The consequences of these measures need to be thought through and implemented, So I don't hear the government talking about these things. Yes, we all understand the need to be firm when it comes to dealing with serious criminal offenses, and we're in favor of that. But we need to also think through the impact and implications of changing the rules in this way. For example, the backlog in the criminal justice system, which has been cleared as a result of reforms that I implemented as Minister of Justice to encourage guilty persons to plead guilty and get a discount so that they get out of the court system and into the prison system much quicker. With the new mandatory minimum sentences, that is now a spoke in the wheel. So you're going to have many more cases that would have been dealt with through a guilty plea now going to trial in the gun court and so on. The court system is going to be overwhelmed by that. So these are some of the things that need to be thought through before you start talking about the increased sentencing rules, I just think you need to have a holistic approach when you're dealing with the criminal justice problem. And it's not just on the back end, which is the courts and the prison system, but it's on why is it that we have so many young people going into criminal activity? What's happening in the early childhood and primary schools that result in children matriculating to secondary and they're not ready for it? They can't handle the secondary curriculum. They leave with nothing to show for it. And those are the ones that are vulnerable to being swayed into crime. We need to have an overall strategy that deals with both sides of the problem. And this government really doesn't understand that. All right, thank you.
Subscribe to Mckoy's News for breaking news and updates.